Hello everybody, my name is Pixel and welcome back to Tiny Bunny. Now if you remember where we left off, it's the start of episode 2. New school, new teachers, and most importantly, new classmates who I always have trouble connecting with. Like most other kids with glasses probably. I forced myself to get out of my warm bed. Dad would usually drive me to my old school, but this morning the bedroom of my parents was silent. Did they sleep in? Maybe it was a good thing. I didn't want to get the daddy's boy reputation from day one. My parents were probably still tucked in, dreaming about the good old days, when everything was still so simple and easy. Sweet dreams, even if far removed from reality. I silently sneaked out to the first floor so I wouldn't wake up anybody, especially the peacefully sleeping Olya. I did my best to step on the middle of every floorboard. I used to play like this even in our old apartment. If my soles touched the space between floorboards, it counted as stepping into lava. The clock was spurring me on with its hands. I need to hurry. Faster, faster. I was too fast, so I needed to circle the hallway once again. Boiling lava was bursting out the cracks between floorboards. I needed to watch my step to survive at any cost. Hippity-hop like a frog jumping on molehills, like a fearful bunny in a grove full of wolves. I made a sandwich in the kitchen, shoved it down my throat, and drank it down with cold tea. My appetite was as good as someone being led up the scaffold toward a guillotine. I lowered my gaze and saw that one of my feet was standing on 2 floorboards at the same time. Burnt to a crisp, huh? I moved my foot. Disgusting little snakes writhed in my belly. The fear of getting hit and being called nasty names. The clock clicked. I need to go. It was dark outside, fitting for an early winter morning. This darkness never fully left the houses around here. I took my time tying my shoes, buttoning up the puffy down jacket, trying to delay my unpleasant exit into the semi-dark, into the unnerving unknown. I rubbed my glasses for good luck, though I couldn't remember a single time these thick pieces of glass brought me any good fortune. Ooh, let's get out of here. That's dark. The sky was akin to a giant bruise. On the east side of it, a black cloud was swelling up. It licked up stars from the sky and extinguished the rising sun. Darkness was plastered all over the treetops. The cautious cries of birds got tangled up in the thicket. I locked the front door with a long key that I wore around my neck. My parents made me wear this noose, afraid that I, being a total klutz that I am, could lose the key otherwise. The wind whizzed on the other side of the gate and invited me into my new life towards dubious adventures, and tagged alone like an old buddy, pushing me in the back. Wide shadows that pines threw out covered a third of the clearing. Upon reaching the edge of the forest, I hid my nose in the coat's collar. I was squeezing through the thin firebrake, my hair ruffled up and my back hunched over. Tall trees stood on both sides of the tiny trail. The snowy blanket rustled under my feet, and the canopy of intertwined branches above my head cut me off from the already sparse starlight. The night had no plans of moving away from the forest. In this darkness, trees reminded me of shaggy old women that smelled of burial earth. Their trunks turned into cracked, wrinkled faces, with holes in the middle as their mouths. If I lost focus for even a moment, mold-covered witches would drag me into the forest depths. Then my parents would be walking around these parts, screaming my name. But the dead can't answer the living. That's what the old lady said. Or can they? I think they can. A sense of panic was growing in my chest. I was fine with Dad carrying me into the school in his hands by now if it saved me from watching the darkness rise up in the ravines like black dough. It felt like someone jumped into the bushes behind me, so I turned around. As soon as I started walking faster, I heard the snow squeak behind me. The forest took a deep breath with its giant lungs. The windfall cracked. The wind and the birds were left behind in the field. Now I could only hear the forest creak. I walked, listened closely, and the unseen presence grew stronger, as if someone was following me, trying to match the pace of my footsteps. I turned my head so fast it made my neck crunch. There's nobody there. A tiny trail behind me disappeared into the darkness. Tree branches overlapped, forming a natural tunnel. Who's there? The question escaped my lips and dissolved into the unending creaking sound of the wooden idols, the pines around me. Why did I think going through the forest alone was a good idea? I'm either going mad, or someone had intentionally lured me away from home. Distant lights granted me a smidgen of hope. A country road! Take me home! Sorry. A country road! I ran there as fast as I could, as if afraid that the trail would shrink. Clawed hands would grip me by the shoulders, turn me around, and make me look at the faces of the hungry forest denizens. In the end, nobody stopped me. I almost flew to the decrepit wooden bridge, disbelieving my luck. The bridge's supports bathed in a spring, tarry and ice cold. I put my hands on my knees and looked up at the forest, then snorted, trying to calm my breathing. The thicket was pretending to be asleep. It looked peaceful, lifeless. The remaining part of my commute lied through a snow-laden road, illuminated by sparse lamplights. I chased away bad thoughts and ran as fast as I could, from one circle of light to another, seeking protection from the electric lamps. Just like in that game, where you need to be the first to proclaim, "I'm protected!" It's just in this case that protection was flimsy at best, with darkness writhing outside its bounds. Then I noticed something remarkably eerie. In a place where the light from an inclined lamp couldn't reach, a hairy, crooked shadow came alive with a guttural roar. "It's a wolf child!" It almost felt like its features deterred light. Its unnatural pose instilled fear. My eyes almost popped out of their sockets as I just stood there, blinking, trying to chase away that illusion. But the shadow didn't disappear, and even got closer. My insides were gripped by horror. I stepped back and almost fell into a snow pile. The black silhouette, on the other hand, straightened up and addressed me in a sweet voice. "Sneaking around, huh? Trying to steal my soul?" Words got stuck in my throat. Who could be talking in such a silky voice here, between the forest and the dormant village? "Will you say something, dummy? A cat got your tongue? Alright, I'll bite off your nose then. That'll teach you not to poke it in places it doesn't belong." A girl stood before me, judging from the voice in the silhouette, but I couldn't even reprimand myself for being scared by a girl, before noticing a gaping mouth under her hood with something dangerously shiny inside. I was stunned. Oh, it's a mask? From the cavity of her hood, a frighteningly real fox face was staring right straight at me. It's just her jaws weren't moving and her eyes weren't blinking. A mask. It's just a girl with a fox mask on. At least, I wanted to think that. After a surprise like that, a nervous smile involuntarily crept onto my face. I was just going to school, and then you... What about me? Never seen a fox feed a dog? And indeed, there was a small dog circling the girl's legs. One of the strays that were chasing me yesterday, probably. Sorry, I didn't mean to. After hearing my voice, the dog whimpered, lowered its ears, sniffed me out, and then started wagging its tail. I guessed I still smelled the bologna that I ate for breakfast. I was shifting my gaze back and forth from the dog to the girl. She didn't seem scary anymore, just weird. "So, you didn't mean to, huh? What's your name?" "I'm Anton. And you?" "And I'm not." She's weird. Definitely has a couple loose screws. But she has a nice voice. My astonishment has turned into a mix of happiness and relief. This girl didn't know that I was definitely human, if a bit eccentric. I was also a bit angry at myself. This foxy girl was walking through the darkness without problem, and I shuddered from every little sound. I could just walk away, but this girl had piqued my interest. The next time a police officer asks me about my friends at the new place, I'll tell him that I've befriended a talking fox. What does the fox say? What does the fox say? Do you live around here? In the village? The fox giggled and purred. She spun around so hard the hem of her coat lifted up. No, dummy. Foxes don't live in villages. So you live in the forest then? Have you been living under a rock? It's obvious that foxes can't survive anywhere near humans, as long as they're foxes. Her jokes were also weird. Just like her carnival mask, paper mache with fur glued onto it. A dog reminded us of its existence with a loud bark. I unfastened my backpack. Dad would sometimes throw food in there without my knowledge. Cookies, apples, or even my favorite crab sticks. He called it a gift from the bunny. The stray that strolled toward me with mincing footsteps with a pleading look in its eyes. The fox did definitely treat it to something, but it was probably still hungry. Why are you dressed like this so early in the morning? Going to a costume party? The girl shrugged, throwing silvery snowflakes off her nose, and her human form along with them, turning into a genuine beast. A real fox, agile, cunning, dangerous. A moment of hesitation and you'll be ripped to shreds. She'll tear you up and gulp you down without breaking a sweat. I can't help but just stand there. I can't help but just stand there as a stump. Look at that. Look at that. It's fascinating. Until I heard her calm, melodic laughter hidden underneath the beastly mask. I wish you could have seen your own mask, sweetie. Did she say sweetie? I got embarrassed. Went red up to my hair roots. We'd seen a fox in a zoo once when we went there with Dad, but it had patchy fur and was gray and skinny. But this girl was a fiery color and furry, just like in the fairy tales. I was still rummaging through my backpack. My fingers, that were searching for the dog's treat, stumbled upon some soft, crumpled object. You'll see. The real beasts will wake up soon. You should ask them where they got their human faces. The girl's shadow was dancing in the lamp's light. The dog yapped in agreement. I freaked out and dropped my finding in the snow without getting a proper chance to examine it. Cold wind instantly covered the hole it created with snow. The dog rushed to dig it out, wanting to get its treat, and the fox just snorted. Now I was so embarrassed I wanted to sink through the snow. It was still dark outside of the electric circle. On the contrary, the darkness seemed even more thick. All neighboring houses were sleeping deeply in its thickness. I did my best to continue the conversation with the weird girl I didn't know. So are you going to school? Oh my, you are a real dummy. Don't you get it? Well, I was trying to be friendly, but she can't stop mocking me, calling me a dummy and all. I should have just moved along without paying any attention to this weirdo and her stupid dog. Why are you so mean? Don't answer if you don't want to. It's not like I care. Still, something froze me in place, tugged me toward the dark figure. A mysterious appearance, her voice that was velvety and just languid enough. I was intrigued and excited. I watched as her people watch fires burn. Oh, stop pouting. Look here. Zilka took a liking to you. The dog was digging through snow with sharp movements, snoring loudly. The fox turned around and looked at the windows of a nearby house and at its timbered front through the white mist. The tip of her fake nose was shining under the lamp's light. And maybe someone else too. I went red again like a boiled crayfish this time. Is she talking about herself or somebody else? I'd hoped that the semi-dark would be able to hide my embarrassment from the girl. I cleared my throat before asking. And who's that person? I waited, counting my heartbeat. The fox didn't reply. Her sly stare was scanning the frosty patterns of someone's windows. She was reading them like a glass book. I wonder what she can see in those winter paintings. The stray stopped rummaging through the snow. It ran to me, holding my object in her paws. A mitten? Could it be the one I found in the forest? What's it doing here? When I looked closer, I realized that it was just my mitten. Maybe Mom stuffed it in there when I was asleep? A certain missing boy immediately came to mind. Hey, do you know anything about Vova? I imagine the scene. Silhouettes, dancing in the clearing. The spooky scene. The dance on the night when Vova had disappeared. A boy who, when found, can provide a big reward and maybe save my family. I remembered my birthday when my parents promised to take me and Olya to Disneyland in Paris. But instead of a long-anticipated gift, they gave me a simple brick game console, visibly embarrassed. I was crying my eyes out back then, demanding to take me to the promised amusement park. This was the first time when Mom and Dad had a big fight. My greediness shattered their relationship. If only I could fix everything, gather everybody I love, and take them to Disneyland. On the night Vova had disappeared, I think I saw someone like you dancing under my window. It couldn't be true, but I felt like her mask became even more sly. The fox was sniffing me out. Oh? That got you worried? For yourself? Or for someone else? Olya! As soon as I thought about my sister, my chest tightened, and cold sweat streamed down my spine. Well then, listen closely, a boy named Anton. This is a big and scary forest. The fox girl stepped forward menacingly. And I'm not its only tenant. The other beasts already know about you. Beware, we'll come again tonight. I shouldn't have talked to this evil in child form, I thought, panicking. When you and your parents are we be fast asleep, we'll sneak really close and dance. Macarena, hey! Huh? Hey, Macarena. What? Look at you, your mouth is agape, Antasha. He saw me near his window at night. Yeah, right. Are you, by any chance, a dimwit? Nobody would let me go outside that late. Children go missing here, you know. I touched the plastic frame of my glasses, puzzled by her silly joke. She got me scared to death. Hey, why don't you stop fondling your glasses? I was also nearsighted once. Listen to me, and maybe you'll become smarter. Remember, what do they call foxes? Cunning? My words seemed to hurt her. Hey, what did you... sorry. Her laughter was akin to the jingle of a pair of silver bells. Just pulling your leg. Of course we're cunning. If you're agile and brave enough to befriend a cunning fox, I'll help look for your Vova. There's a reason why you're doing it, right? I shrugged in reply. Her insight was alarming. I know why children have been swarming our forest recently. Sometimes you can find a lot of interesting stuff there. One day, I saw a huge pile of candy once, and I swam in it until my jaws cramped. A pile of candy? I couldn't deduce whether she believed in what she was saying from the tone of her voice. I showed her another smile, a fake one this time. Ooh, so wary. Well, what do you say to this, then? She held out her hand in a furry mitten. There was an assortment of sweets in her palm. In the city where I used to live, sweets like these were sold at markets or in kiosks. I saw my favorite bubblegum in a vivid wrapper among the tasty treasure. A familiar name was on it, Turbo. A triangular fox face poked her nose toward me. Take some. My pockets are full of these. Okay, let's take the candy. I accepted the treat and catching a whiff of the girl's smell. Fur, fireworks, and citrus. The smell of holidays. My fingers tingled while I was carefully unwrapping the gum. Peachy aroma entered my nostrils, and something else. Something unfamiliar, but pleasant. The fruity cube ended up in my mouth. I started moving my molars, chewing the gum. It tasted like your usual Turkish gum, only my tongue went a bit numb. I couldn't believe my luck after opening the insert. I looked at a Mercedes-Benz, an extremely rare and hence desirable collector's item for any boy from my previous neighborhood. My heart skipped a beat. I was barely able to tear my eyes off the insert, still stunned. This is... Now do you see what can be found in the forest? Still, I wouldn't go there alone if I were you. You get so flustered over simple bubblegum as after all. Imagine what would happen if you find a travel case worth of these. It'll surely blow your mind. Unusual treats, just like everything else about her. I carefully hid the insert in my bag as if I was putting a rare butterfly in a can, the fox giggled. This is not how things are supposed to go on a Monday morning. Who are you? I refrained from asking that question. She would answer anyway, or she'll just lie. I really wanted to see what's behind her mask. I was becoming more and more sure that underneath it wasn't just a simple young girl. What if Vova was also found in a snow pile with sweets and is now rolling in it? Actually, what if he decided to stay in the forest? He must be so cold without his second mitten then. The wind caught her words like smoke from a fire and carried them deep into the darkness, into the creepy thicket. The trees behind me creaked with their bony branches. Or what if something happened to him along the way? Something terrible. The forest reached to her words, became alive, and it sniffed at me out, perking up its ears, just like a curious beast. The fox girl pierced me with her eyes again. Wild beasts? You find that scary? Well, I don't know. He doesn't know. Oh my, have I befriended a dunce? I didn't like being called a dunce, yet being friends with her sounded nice. My grades are good. Really now. Will you come with me? Good grades, Anton. We'll find your Vova, and you'll be able to ask him what he found deep in the forest. As long as you're with me, nothing can hurt you in the forest. You'll see. Worms of worry writhed in my belly. Better run, whispered my mind. I don't believe you. Do you take me for a liar? Whatever. You're just like everybody else. The girl sounded hurt, although I didn't know if she was genuine about it. She turned around as if she had immediately lost all interest in me. The gum felt bitter now. I remembered my dad's favorite saying, "Where are your manners, son?" Indeed, this fox was kind to me. Please, don't get mad. Foxes can be also nice, like in fairy tales. I just need to know what kind of fox you are. The girl giggled, hiding the nose of her mask in her hands. Then follow me into the forest, and you'll get to know me. But not right now. When it gets bright. I mean, your whole body is shaking, you poor thing. I don't want you to get a stroke. Hey, let me accompany you to school. After hearing this, the dog barked in agreement and stopped messing with the mitten. I leaned in, trying to grab the piece of handwear that almost ran away from me. Well, if we're going in the same direction. We went toward the school and the lost dawn. Here and there, the lights came on in the windows of the houses we passed as if their inhabitants were sending us warning signals. Silhouettes lurked behind curtains and dogs let out occasional barks. Spirals of gray smoke rose from chimneys, TVs bustled, and dishes clanged in kitchens. We watched the village slowly rise from its slumber while carefully treading the snowy wheel trails. I walked in the left one and she took the right one. The dog was following right behind us. I expected the fox to bring up something weird again, but she stayed silent all the way to school as if playing with me some game only she was privy to. She would only giggle from time to time when the dog sneezed from the snowflakes that fell on its nose. I was the first to break the silence. So what's your name? Here it comes. Names, names, names. You people always need to put labels on everything. What name would you give to a fox like me? I don't know, but I've read about Alyssa the fox. You know what? I don't mind. I'll be Alyssa. I couldn't understand if she was joking or not. I turned around as if looking for an answer. From the dog, from the dark sky devoid of dawn. My silent questions were left unanswered. And that is where we are going to end it for today. I'm all out of time. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will pick this back up. We will continue the story. What is the deal with this fox girl? What does she want from us? She never took off the mask through the entire conversation, so I'm kind of wondering, is she actually a real fox? Who knows? Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, feel free to like the video. You want to see more of this? You want to keep following along with this series? Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. You'll get notified whenever new videos come out. You want to play this game for yourself? It's on Steam. Go check it out. You won't be disappointed. Thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye now.